So while the body of the guitar is drying, and I'm letting that poly set, I figure I may as well get started on the neck. So the first thing that I'm going to have to do is to make sure all of these frets are level and flat. Otherwise it could cause buzzing when you go to play it. So to do that, all I'm doing is keeping it nice and cheap and simple. And just got my Mikey card, and all I'm doing is I'm just putting it across 3 frets to check. So if there's a wiggle, like there is a little bit here, that means this middle fret is too high. Actually, that one might be okay. So if I just, yeah, that one might be, I think is okay. And then if I go to the next 3, that one's pretty good. My arm's probably in the way, isn't it? Yep. So I'll check these 3. They're pretty good. Those are fine. See, they're all pretty good, I think. There's one. That one's, I don't know if you can see that. That one's quite high. Yep, so I might just, yeah, so I've just taped off in between all of the frets with some masking tape so that I don't damage the fretboard. That one's fine. I think all these ones, yeah, they're all fine. So I'll just double check. Might actually not have to do any fret work, which is pretty impressive. This was the problem one, but I can't tell if I've just put the sticky tape on badly or if it's the actual fret. No, I think it's the fret. So what I'm gonna have to do, because it's so slight, I might just try and go at it with some steel wool, because it's ever so slightly off. I'll just go at it with some steel wool. Yeah, these ones are all pretty fine. So it's just that one. So yeah, I'll just go at it with some steel wool, hence the masking tape, just to protect that fretboard. And I'll check on it again after a little bit with the steel wool. So I'm just going over all the frets just with some steel wool, just to give them a bit of a polish. I don't know if you can see that. So I've done up to here with the steel wool, and that's one I haven't done. So it's not that they're bad, but the steel wool's actually definitely adding a little bit of shine to it. Okay, so I've just finished going over them with the steel wool. I mean, I think I was kidding myself trying to flatten the frets out just with steel wool. I mean, they're pretty good. Like, I am quite impressed, because I've heard, you know, horror stories on the internet of people who have bought one of the, not this brand, but a similar kit, and their frets have been all over the place. But they're actually, like, there's maybe 1 or 2 that are maybe like 1/10 of a millimeter or 100th of a millimeter off. And I mean, I could go in with a crowning file, but I don't own a crowning file, and I think the files I've got to be a little bit too aggressive, so I think I'm just going to leave it. It looks pretty good. If there's any problems later on when I string up, I'll come back and address it, but for the moment I think I'm just going to leave it. I think it's fine. Okay, so the next step is to shape the headstock. So I've just drawn my design out here, just kind of winging it, going by hand, not really basing it off anything, just going with something I like. I know absolutely nothing about guitars and guitar brands, so I'm just going with whatever I like. So I've drawn it on, and I'll probably try and cut it out with a jigsaw just to make it easier. Okay, so next step in the neck. So my camera died halfway through shaping the headstock, but pretty much all I did was cut it to shape with a hacksaw and a bandsaw, and then just filed and sanded it down so that it's nice and smooth. So as I said before, the neck's already pretty smooth, and I've just taped off the fretboard there so I don't damage it. So I'll just go back to the 1200 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to give it a really light once over, just to remove, just to smoothen out the top, but it shouldn't need much, because as I said, it's already pretty smooth. So again, all I'm going to do with this is give it a coat of polyurethane, wipe on poly. So again, all I'm doing is just old t-shirt, got a bag of these for $3 from Kmart, and just, as it says, just wipe it on. So I've just wiped that on, and as you can see, it's looking really nice. So I'm just going to hang that up to dry, leave it for an hour or so till it's nice and dry, and then I'll just give it another coat, same thing. Okay, so here it is, just hanging up in the shed to dry. Yeah, pretty easy, probably the easiest part so far. So yeah, I'm just gonna, as I said, leave it dry for a few hours, give it another coat, and then maybe every 3 or 4 coats, depending, I'll just give it a quick once over with some steel wool, just to even out any high spots. Yeah, I don't know how well that shows up, but it's actually looking quite nice. It's really brought out the pattern there. And then, yeah, as I said, I've masked off the fretboard, and once all the wipe on poly is done, I'll just give that a couple of coats of probably some linseed oil or some Danish oil, and yeah, that's that.